Hello everyone, I'm Senior Community Manager Alex here at Dovetail Games, and today I'm joined by Executive Producer of Trains, the wonderful Mr. Matt Pedleston.
Thank you, Alex.
And you may notice us from your regular Train Sim World monthly roadmaps. Well, today we're here to talk to you about some exciting news coming to Train Sim World. Firstly, we wanted to share that there is another Dovetail Direct coming this August 26th, which will be a big announcement event full of loads of new details coming to Train Sim World, as well as announcing our next edition.
Wait, so the community were right all along?
Okay, maybe this time. But we're letting you in on the news early. That's right, Train Sim World 6 will be releasing this year. And let's face it, unlike some games that are waiting for their 6th version, this is the one that you're actually waiting for. Now, more information about the content included will be shared in our Summer Dovetail Direct, and you can find that live on our Train Sim World YouTube channels for you to set the notification on right now. You definitely won't want to miss this.
But we do have some exciting bits to share today. First, we can confirm the return of the free starter pack. That will allow everyone to upgrade to Train Sim World 6 for free for a limited time upon launch, as well as allow new players a really great opportunity to try the game for free.
As ever, there will be a range of great value paid bundles you can pick up, but we can also confirm that Train Sim World 6 will be available on all of the platforms that Train Sim World 5 was previously, including PC for Steam and Epic Games, as well as across both Gen 8 and Gen 9 console platforms.
Also, after our recent updates to core game optimizations, the team are continuing to work on key improvements that will ensure the experience is high quality, smooth and enjoyable no matter what platform you run on.
And with the return of the free starter pack, you can bring across all of your compatible content and make the most of these new updates for no additional charge. We'll be sure to give you all the specifics for the new routes, the new trains, the new features, much closer to the time. But for now, stay excited, set your notifications, and we know you can't wait.
Oh, and alongside the Direct this year, where you're going to get all this Train Sim World 6 goodness, we'll also be announcing some brand new Dovetail Games titles. So stay tuned and expect the unexpected.
That's all for now. See you soon, everyone.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Train Sim World Roadmap stream for July. I'm delighted to be back here. I'm JD, I'm Director of Community here at Dovetail Games. It's lovely to be back in the seat, and I'm joined as ever by our exec producer, Matt. Hello, Matt.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, you don't normally ask me how I'm doing. I'm doing very well, thank you very much. How are you doing?
I am doing very good. I'm doing very good. It's a lovely day.
It is a lovely day. It is warm in the garage. So shall we get started? It's all very exciting here at Dovetail HQ because you might have seen we just put live. We just showed you a video that we launched earlier today, which formally announced the upcoming release of Train Sim World 6, which is all very, very exciting. We're sure you'll agree. So we'll talk a little bit about that today. We also had a couple of other bits and pieces that we mentioned within the roadmap, including a brand new piece of content that is coming to Train Sim World 5. So we'll come into that in a second, but I think it probably is most pertinent that we talk about the big announce today, Matt. So we've been live for I would say about 5 hours now. What are your thoughts on the general response so far?
Really good actually. There's been lots of interesting feedback. Obviously, there's lots of speculation about what what we're going to say more broadly. But actually, I think I really like the fact that we've come out earlier than normal to tell people about what's happening. And certainly, I think the reaction to the continued free starter edition is very cool.
Yes, I mean, one of the reasons, obviously, why we decided to talk about it early is to give me less chance to leak it, of course. So, yeah, I noticed that everyone announced it before I had the chance to jump on a live stream and talk about it. So, I will never live that one down, I don't think. But yes, so the actual stuff that we talked about today. So we're not going to talk about the content that is coming with Train Sim World 6. We're not going to talk about the routes. We're not going to talk about the locos. We're not going to talk about the core features. We're going to keep you on tenterhooks for those. Dovetail Direct will be the 26th of August, so make sure you put that date in your diaries. If you check on our YouTube channel, we'll also have an event that you can subscribe to as well, or you can add on notifications for that will alert you as and when that goes live on the 26th. So that is very exciting. But the other things that we talked about over the course of it, I've got a little graphic here to show you that you might have seen beforehand. So we have the free starter pack, as Matt alluded to, which comes back comes back into force. We were really happy with how it went last year, and we think it's a really good way to be able to bring people from Train Sim World, previous versions of Train Sim World, to Train Sim World 6. And we also have, if you've never played a Train Sim World game before, it's a great way for people to come into the latest version of the game, give it a try, see if they like it, and then if they want to get some of the additional content, then they absolutely can do. If you want a little bit more information about the free starter pack, there is an FAQs for Train Sim World 5 starter pack actually on our support center. You can actually check that out. It will give you more details about how the free starter pack works, but of course we'll tell you a little bit more about that in the build up to release as well. There'll also be some great value bundles, the content of which we will announce on Dovetail Direct Day. The platforms that it will be available on will be including everything that Train Sim World 5 is on. So that includes your Xbox One and your PS5, as well as also your Steam, Epic, PS5, Xbox Series S and Series X. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. There will be some key optimization improvements. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. As ever, content can be transferred across different versions of Train Sim World. There is a one exception to that for the time being, which is the Caltrain content. We will be talking a little bit about that at the moment and our plans and aspirations for what we can do with that. I guess spoiler alert, we're still in discussions at the moment about that. And then some brand new titles from Dovetail Games. That's very, very ambiguous and very, very hype inducing, but we're not going to talk about those today. You'll find out more about those in the future. Because I'm terrified that I'm going to leak something, of course. Matt, let's drill into some of those individual sections. And actually, people at home, if you have any questions about Train Sim World 6, obviously with the caveat that we've just talked about the stuff that we're probably going to talk about today, then please make sure you put them in the chat and we will take some of the questions and make sure that we try and answer as many as we possibly can do. So Matt, let's talk about the platforms to begin with. We've had a little bit of feedback about particularly our continued support of Gen 8 platforms. Now, there are a few reasons for this. Obviously, first and foremost, we have a lot of players who play on 8th gen consoles, and we continue to do so. Otherwise, as I say, it wouldn't be feasible or necessary for us to do some to continue supporting the platforms, but I think it might be helpful for everybody at home to understand how we go out building content to fit and adapt and be optimized for the different platforms, because I've seen a lot of people suggesting that Gen 8 or our continued development of Gen 8 holds back Gen 9, but I understand that's not necessarily the case.
No, not really, not these days. I mean, first thing happens, or even at some point down the duration of making a project, if we feel that Gen 8 is going to hold back a project, we don't release it on Gen 8 and we just eliminate it from the equation. So you've seen that on 2 or 3 releases last year already, including the Frankfurt S-Bahn release. And one of the biggest areas outside of track that causes problems is the numbers and types of trains, the complexity of the timetable, and we've got even more tools now to allow us to tailor that to the experience. So we usually start out by building the full beef timetable for the PC, and then we cut it down for each of the platforms until they run well. Ideally, we wouldn't cut anything, but if it turns out that Series X can't run the full PC timetable, we'll make some changes until it does, and same for Series X, which means that everything's not being held back to the lowest common denominator. So it's no otherwise than that, and the fact that, as I said, we could just not release a piece of content on Gen 8 means that that isn't a problem for us, really. It makes life a lot easier for us. We don't have to try and continually beat that rug if it's just not going to work. So that makes life easier, but it does mean that not all releases will make it to Gen 8, but some will. And there's obviously one of the reasons that given that there is still quite a lot of people playing on Gen 8, which surprised me, to be honest. I firmly believed that we were going to be saying goodbye to Gen 8 this time around, and we did a load of analysis and the numbers came back saying no, not just yet. So that's why it's still there. And but there's people who've got all the back catalogue that want to take advantage of any new things. So even if they can't take advantage of every piece of new bit of content that comes out, it just keeps bringing people along with us. while it makes sense and while there's enough people to do it. And at the moment, there is.
Great. Cool. Okay. Quick question before we get into some other stuff. Canadian Skilled Truckers Alliance asks, would rail drivers continue to operate with Train Sim World 6? I don't see
Yes.
why not. But that's the kind of question that we can answer tonight. So that's a little tidbit. So yeah, Gen 8, Gen 9 will be supporting the same as we did for Train Sim World 5. But as I say, we want to make sure that every player has the best experience that they can do whatever platform that they're on, and as I say, it's very much that we start with Gen 9 and then we adapt the content if required to fit sort of the Gen 8 mold, as best we possibly can do. Cool. Okay, so on that note, let's talk a little bit about optimization improvements, because that was one of the other things that we mentioned, Matt. Obviously, we released an update earlier on, I think it's about 2 weeks ago now, and then a follow-up update last week, which were designed to improve some of the performance challenges some players were seeing across, I think, the whole suite of TSW5 content. How has that gone, and what are the next steps on that?
So we get some really good graphs from Microsoft and Sony actually about sort of crash data, statistics, graphs, and so forth. We can see what's going on there, which is why if you get a crash, make sure you do upload it to the platform. We do see and use the data that comes back from all that crash data, and we've seen an improvement, a reasonable improvement actually. It's not by any means fixed it, but that's because there are a variety of different causes of crashes. Yeah, it was really good to see there's a marked improvement in crashes in the graphs across all platforms. But we've got more to do. And one area that didn't benefit as much as we'd hoped it might from the first round was the blurriness. Now, when we reviewed it, it's kind of like a lot of the fixes actually were really more focusing on kind of the rest of the main memory usage. But freeing up a bunch of memory is a good thing. And, I think in some platforms, it's something like 600-700 megabytes of memory that's been freed up, which is just nothing to sniff at on there. So there's more to do. There's more to find. There's other challenges that we found where when the game is loading data, it tends to become a big spike that then settles back down again. And we think some of these spikes might be actually what's causing the problems. It's not the sort of the main memory usage, it's these spikes, it's loading things that trip it over. So there's that, and there's working on what's called the texture pool, which is what's the root cause of the blurriness. So it means that when you get blurriness, it means this thing called the texture pool has run out of space. So in order to make everything fit, it's compressing everything that's inside it. And that's what makes it go blurry. So those are probably the two main areas that we looked at next, to give some improvement on the blurriness and to see whether we can do something, what we can do about these load spikes.
Yeah, I think as we've maintained sort of throughout this whole process, it's very much an iterative improvements process. It's unlikely there's going to be one kind of silver bullet that's going to resolve everybody's problems, but we'll try and chip away at the various different opportunities that we have to improve experience.
Yeah. No, the team have got a lot of good ideas of where they're going to next, and they've got a lot more understanding. We learned a lot through the first iteration that we did as well, and we build on that as we move into the next bit. So it's it's been a good process, but clearly that doesn't matter. What matters is results. So that's what we're going to try and get here.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, people say it's not about the destination, it's the journey, but I think in this case it's probably about the destination
I
as
think
well.
the destination is
Yeah,
pretty important in this
yeah,
particular case.
yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay, and then just finally on the information that we're able to provide for now, the compatible content process is very similar to what you would experience last year. So all of your content will transfer whatever version of Train Sim World you're on. If you move to the starter pack or one of the paid for bundles, you'll be able to bring your existing content over to the latest version of Train Sim World. The only possible exception to that might be the Caltrain content, so Peninsula Corridor, the Baby Bullet, and I forget the other loco off the top of my head.
MP15 DC switcher.
That's the one. And we've obviously taken those off of the stores, I think in March of this year, because we we are in the process of, the license, we lost the license for the content. So we are still discussing what we can do with that particular content. So it may well be that that's not necessarily available on launch, but we'll have more information for you. Hopefully when we get to where Dovetail Direct is in August, with a plan for how that content can be transferred over, if it's something that we can do.
We're just finalising that plan out at the moment, and so as soon as we have that plan, we'll let you know what it is.
Great. Cool. Okay. So Matt, is there anything else Train Sim World 6 related? I've seen a few questions in the chat. We can't really talk, unfortunately, about what the new features are going to be, what the new trains and the new routes are going to be. That'll come on August 26th. But the idea today was to give you that kind of early heads up, that transparency, to make sure that you're aware of what's coming, rather than us doing the kind of the song and dance that we've done over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, where we've very much been tight-lipped. We think it's just easier for everybody if we talk about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Anything else, Matt, on Train Sim World 6?
Nope, I think that's it.
Cool. Watch this space then, everybody, for Dovetail Direct on the, I've got a nice little graphic actually, on August 26th, 2025. Oh, that looks like a nice graphic. The creative team have done a good job with that one. At 1400 UTC, but we will confirm the exact timing a little bit close to the date. Cool. So what does that mean then for the actual roadmap? Well, we have a new section on the roadmap which covers everything that's coming for both, obviously, for the remainder of Train Sim World 5, but also for Train Sim World 6, and also the content on the right-hand side is what is arriving for Train Sim World 6. So you'll see that there's a little bit of a decision where we've made, there's 3 products that are going to be coming out in the remainder of Train Sim World 5, and there's sort of the 0 to 3 month section, and then we've got a load of new stuff that we're going to be announcing come the 26th of August, and there will be some additional take a ticket style content as well, which will reveal some more content and routes and trains for Train Sim World 6, as well as what will be within the core game of Train Sim World 6. But you'll also see on the right hand side some of the products that have been on the Train Sim World 5 roadmap for a little while now. They're going to be coming the other side of Train Sim World 6. So make sure when we do come to the release, if you're not necessarily that fussed on the paid for options, make sure you do upgrade using the free starter pack, because those products and those routes or remasters or whatever will be available for Train Sim World 6. So make sure you take advantage of that, because it's only be available for a limited time period. So some of those notable ones, obviously Tadami Line, Great Western Remaster, and the BR420, which are kind of some of the more mainstay items of the roadmap. They will be shifting through to Train Sim World 6. The work is still being done on them. Matt, I don't know if there are any updates on any of those 3 in particular yet at all.
Not at the moment, no.
No. But when we have more for you, we'll talk about them in various different means as we get into the world of Train Sim World 6. But let's focus in on the stuff that is coming in the next few months. So what you'll see there is you'll see the Class 86, which we now have a release date for, which is the 15th of July. That is very exciting. They've got the Mark IIF coaches as well, and also the Mark RMB Restaurant Mini Buffet. Which I know got a lot of people very excited. I'm just going to quickly show some pictures of that so that people can see that all in its finery. That's a little bit of a dark image. Let's. The
86 does look really nice. I mean, it's a really nice addition to the AC Loco Group fleet. So with the 87 that was in the previous route, and the coaches are magnificent. Oh, yes. Your fake time is amazing.
Wow, that is that's
amazing.
That is an interesting. I've set the screenshot. Sorry, the what's it called? The slideshow. That's the word. The fade is something else. I'll remember to note that for next time round. But yeah, you can see the buffet car and the interiors. All of the details for this are available in the article that we released last week. I'll just chuck the link in the chat for people to be able to read that. But there's also a manual in there as well, so you can kind of understand how to operate the loco in advance of its release. What is this time next week, which is very exciting. Oh wow, I really cannot unsee that fade. That is wonderful. Matt, is there anything in particular you're really excited about for this particular pack?
I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record to anyone who's been watching the streams, but the 86 was the one that used to fly up and down the Great Eastern Main Line where I grew up. So this is special for me to see the 86 in the pack. It's one that I've always enjoyed. Very similar driving experience to the 87 from Shap, but yeah. So I'm really looking forward to getting the 86 in, just because it speaks to some fond memories.
Lovely. And speaking of live streams, we will of course be streaming with the Just Trains team on Thursday, giving you an opportunity to see it all in its glory. So yeah, make sure you put that in your calendars. That one should be a lot of fun. I know Jamie's really looking forward to being able to show that off to everybody. Cool. Okay. So back to cams for us. Let us talk a little bit about the newest addition to the roadmap, which is the West Midland Railway and Cross Country BR Class 170, and that's being developed by our friends at Rivet Games. This is new, and we are very excited because we've got the cross country license. It's back. First time in Train Sim World that will be one of the licensors in game. Also excitingly as well, with the two versions of the 170, there is lots of work that's been gone on the Birmingham Cross City timetable. No, that was a bit of feedback that we had when we released the route a couple of years ago, is that it felt quite quiet. This will aim to fill out a lot of the timetable using the content that the Rivet team have put together. I believe it also includes a couple of bits and pieces from West Coast Mainline South and the Pendolino as well. And they're on sale on Steam at the moment if you haven't got them already. So little cheeky plug there. I'll take off my marketing hat and we'll come back to the room. We've got some really nice photos to show of this one. So Matt, I don't know if you wanted to do a little bit of voiceover as we go through to showing some of the work that's been going on with this.
Yeah, I mean, this pack kind of snuck up on me, to be honest. I knew it was being done, but just literally seeing some screenshots of it over the last couple of days, and yeah, they've gone so much further than I was expecting. The rework on the timetable looks tremendous. The two versions of the 170, I was only aware that they were doing the orange one. So it's brilliant. I really like the 170 that came in Fife Circle. So that we've got two more versions of the 170. And as you can see from the pictures here, they aren't the same. There are some differences between the interiors as well as on the exteriors. So it's yeah, it's good. We've obviously got some really nice brands and liveries on the exterior. And a really busy timetable. I mean, I am really excited to fire up Birmingham actually and sort of have a whole new Birmingham cross country experience with this one. To be honest, so 323 is another one of my favourite trains to drive, as I said on the Manchester stream. So it's kind of like bringing that whole new lease of life. So yeah, really like it.
Yeah, this is going to be. This was a little bit of a. Yeah, I think. I'm not going to say it's a shadow drop. Not in the way that we dropped the gameplay pack last week, but it's certainly, as you said, sort of snuck up. I think on a lot of people, and it's a really nice thing that we can throw in and just say, do you know what, this is to get a lot of people very interested and back interested in. I think a route that is really good, but I think has suffered perhaps from not necessarily having the rolling stock on it to be able to get the best use out of it. So I look forward to people bringing this up the Licky Incline.
Look at that shot in Birmingham, though. So it's looking so much more interesting with the variety of stock in there. So yeah, big shout out. I think Rivet have, from what I've seen, Rivet have done a really top job on this. So I'm looking forward to giving it a play.
Lovely. So yeah, that is, if you want more details on the pack, we talked a little bit about it in the roadmap article earlier. Mod, I don't know if you have the link to hand and can throw it in the chat for people. Be very appreciative if so, please. Just because I think it gives a little bit more context as to what the aims of this particular pack are for, and what players can expect in the terms of the improvements to Birmingham Cross City as well. There will be an article that we're planning with the Rivet team, which will go into a bit more detail with the timetable as well. So that will go into a bit more detail about what kinds of things you might be doing with the pack as well. And Jasper is still at Rivet, Amazed Haze. Yes, so we're hoping to bring him on to the stream to do when we do the preview. Cool. And then the final thing that we're going to talk about in as far as the content for Train Sim World 5 goes is the Expert DBR 101 gameplay pack on Kassel-Wurzburg from TSG. So this is, I think, the first of its kind. I think it's the first gameplay pack for a expert loco in game, and so that's quite interesting. They've tried to be very creative and very different with this particular pack, the TSG team. So I'm just going to again cut to some nice imagery and we can talk about it a little bit more. It brings a new expanded timetable and also 5 expert level scenarios where you'll be looking at things like a rescue scenario with the ultimate stopping precision required, wrong line running around track closures, voiceover lines, and befail documents on the cab desk. So those are all things that are going to be you'll be able to interact with or do during the course of the scenarios in this pack, which is, again, TSG really do like to push the envelope, I think, with some of this stuff and really try and be quite pioneering with how they approach these things. And I'm really excited to see how people interact with the gameplay, but it also brings a lot more playable services as well. So 26 more playable services, 1,200 new AI services, which is very impressive. The focus is very much on IC traffic with the 101 Expert, but it provides new opportunities for the ICE3 and ICE1 as well. There's some reworked freight layers. ICE trains and formations have been swapped around to better represent the 2018 timetable, including the addition of an ICT trailer, sorry, a layer even. There's a new Flix train layer with 2 BR193 services, and the IC layer is completely different with many more 101 and cab-led services, including a few light loco runs where LZB use is prohibited as well. So those are quite a lot. That's quite a lot of stuff, actually. And when you read it out, I think when you see it on a page, you think, oh, okay, cool. But when you read it out, you're like, oh yeah, that is quite a lot of stuff. And I do remember, actually, I think it was Lucas's first live stream was on Kassel-Wurzburg. It was in the build up to Train Sim World 3, and I think it was the first time that he'd tried to drive during a stream and tried to do all of the tech behind a stream at the same time. It didn't end up going particularly well for us. As I remember quite vividly. So
I was at I was in Gamescom at the time, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, we had. It was not the most fun stream I've ever been on, I'll have to be honest. But we managed to give it a better showing, I think. I think we did the stream again, and there was a better showing. So I'm glad to see it's not scarred him for life from making content on Kassel-Wurzburg, because that sounds like a really interesting pack. We'll obviously have more details. Yeah, I guess actually just on the subject, Matt. We have had expert level locals. Now got an expert level gameplay pack. We're not necessarily going to talk about future content and whatnot, but have we seen that there is an interest for this kind of content? Is expert level content one of the things that we might do more of in the future?
I know that there are third-party developers who are keen to make the expert level content. And I think the BR101 Expert Edition was very popular indeed, very popular. And I'm hoping that the gameplay pack will be as well, because everything that was super different and advanced and expert quotes about the BR101, you can kind of expect the gameplay to be matching it in this. You know, it's taking it to another level. Some really, really innovative stuff going on. So it's really interesting. But yeah, I think it's really good. And I don't want to say that we're going to necessarily do stuff, but I think that we're certainly encouraging third parties to look into doing expert content. And like I said, I know that there's at least one or two that are certainly looking at doing that. It's the big challenge with expert content is, and one of the reasons that this was so achievable was the level of access that TSG had to the BR 101 was phenomenal. That kind of access doesn't come around very often. Being able to quiz the drivers and get really loads and loads of information about that level of detail is challenging. And also the German company DB are very supportive of it, and not everybody is. So there's lots of factors to consider in that, but it's very popular, and the more the better, as far as I'm concerned. It's very, very good. It adds a new dimension to it. I wouldn't want to see it replacing the normal content because it becomes a lot more daunting to newer players, and just people who want to more casually just enjoy driving a train. But I think it is good to have that extra string to the bow, if you like.
Yeah, it is kind of offering something different for different kinds of players, and which I think is a really good thing. Well, this is what Train Sim World I think does really, really well, is actually provides a real variety of different types of experiences for people, whatever kind of interest you have. And Max Sampler says expert toilets and expert trains. Let's not get carried away. Let's not get carried away. We'll have more information on that gameplay pack in the coming weeks. We will obviously launch with an article which will talk all about the release date, pricing, all of that kind of thing as well. So this is your call for questions, everybody. We've been trying to sort of follow the chat as we've gone through, but please feel free to throw any questions that you have into the chat. We'll stick around and do some Q&A after we've just talked a little bit about patches. But I've alluded to the patch that happened a couple of weeks ago, which was a massive patch. Do you know what? I think poor Harry had to translate all of the patch notes into player facing notes. I think there was about 600 rows of an Excel spreadsheet that needed to be translated into patch notes, and I think it nearly broke her. But it was a huge patch. It contained those performance improvements that we were talking about earlier on in the stream, but there was also some really big improvements for things like the Expert 101 that we talked a little bit about earlier, as well as other improvements to lots of other routes as well. I think there was a bug for the 350 tutorial, I think, that had been annoying for a very long time, which is now resolved. And the Antelope line, possibly. Coaches have been added to the Antelope line. Was it Antelope line? I can't remember. Check out the patch notes for more details. There's a very, very long list of them. But I think that was the single biggest patch that I've ever seen in my time at Dovetail, which was great. And then we follow that up this week with some just follow-up bits and pieces. We actually have a patch coming tomorrow morning as well, which is related to the E94 pack. So that will fix an issue with Livery Designer on the BR194 and the Umberwagen, as well as an issue that prevented snow from showing properly on the Umberwagen. Umbauwagen, maybe. That's probably a better way of putting it. An issue with the wiper and the blind animations will be resolved as well in the cab, and the weather glass effects, as well as some of the excessive brake hisses as well. But full patch notes will be published tomorrow morning, with a view of that coming out tomorrow morning. Cool. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about questions, shall we? Is there more info on the route from all aboard trains? Not at this stage, no. We're not. If it's not on the, I'm going to go back to the traditional. If it's not on the roadmap, we're not going to talk about it for the time being. I would say for most questions related to what is this pack, any more news on this thing, Dovetail Direct will be your place to go on the 26th of August. Jaisal Tanner asks a good question about the expert locos and expert products. What does expert actually mean for us, Matt?
So expert means it includes extra functionality, things, and it's where we sometimes have abbreviated things to make them more accessible, like the switch that lets you choose the PZB mode. Doesn't really exist in most trains. In most trains, you go onto a computer screen, or you have a big panel where you dial in various settings, and then it deduces the appropriate PCB mode based on your brake ability and so forth. But there's a lot to set that up. Well, in some of the standard trains, there's just a OMU switch, whereas on the expert trains, you've got to learn how to do that properly. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Then you've got faults that come up on the train, and you need to. They're not just cosmetic faults like on the M9, I think it was on Lear. These are faults which will cause you problems, and you need to take action. So you need to effectively have the manual to hand to know that when this pops up, you take these steps to deal with it. So, in case one of the sort of the underlying things, there's a difference between an expert edition and a non-expert edition is expect to need the manual and to have it open and available to you. Do not expect to be able to just pick it up and go. And it is something they call them study level locos in some circles. These are locos you'll need to spend some time understanding the nuances of. All the things that you got used to with a standard loco may not be the same in the more detailed versions on the expert edition. So there's lots and lots of fine details and extra stuff going on in the advanced locos that along those lines.
Yeah, and I think we'll find a certain type of player. I think will be very attracted to those kinds of things. And as I said, I think that just kind of rings true with what we said earlier about trying to create content that will be attractive to lots of different types of people. So expert content will not be for everybody, but we know there are certainly people out there that be very interested in it. Chief Longshin has asked a really interesting question. So he's asked, what do you feel has been the biggest commercial success of Train Sim World 5, but equally what has been the biggest developmental success of Train Sim World 5? Matt, I don't know if you wanted to take the developmental success, and I'll take the commercial one afterwards.
So you're expecting me to remember longer than 5 minutes ago?
I know. I'm putting you through it tonight, Matt. I really apologise.
Oh. You do your bit, and I'm going to go quickly look on the Steam website and find out what we released this year.
Commercial success is always a bit of a. It always feels like it's one of those things you talk about, and don't want to go anywhere near that. But I think probably broadly speaking, things like the free starter pack have been really like a really interesting experiment for us, which have meant that we've been able to bring a lot of people who wouldn't otherwise be able to play our games to our world, and I think it can't be underestimated how I guess positive that's been for not just obviously the financials and all that kind of stuff for our side of things, but also having a kind of vibrant, fresh, new community of people coming in on a regular basis, and really kind of injecting that love of trains and rail through to a slightly broader group of people, and I don't think that can be underestimated. Just making it a little bit more accessible, a little bit less barrier to entry, has I think really offered that to players, existing players, but also potentially new players or returning players as well.
I think from developmental success, someone suggested the Dutch route, and I'm going to agree with that because it's new country, it's totally different types of trains. It was working with a new partner, going out to the Netherlands and getting some of the best recording references that we've been able to get, working with Dutch drivers and with the partner Nederlandse Spoorwagen to actually gain access and get the information, and then the team really doing a good job of capturing the Dutch feel on the route in one go. Not to say it wasn't perfect, but it was very, very good in terms of where they got to. So yeah, I think that the Dutch route was a roaring success just from all fronts. And so I'm really, really proud of what was achieved there in one hit. Going into a new country and getting so much right was a big win. I know the team put an extra effort into sort of getting it there, and that's why it got there. Big shout out and thank you to the team. They put so much work into doing that, and you can see it in what's done there. Someone else mentioned the optimization successes, but I'm not going to claim that as a developmental success because it hasn't solved all your problems. Therefore, I don't see it as it's an improvement. We are along that way. We are not ready to call that a success yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, yeah, Dutch route. Yeah, Anime's Taze and everybody else has said Dutch route. I am copying your answer because I was looking down the list of the stuff on Steam and I'm like, yeah, no, they're right. That's the answer. That's absolutely the answer.
Yeah, I've not seen quite as impactful a response to a release as we saw with the Dutch route with Voller Groningen. It was just, yeah, it was incredible to see. So I'm gonna let you take that one, Matt, and I'll let you have that one. The I think just going back to the performance improvements again, like we have the benefit of being able to see how the processes work internally and how much time and work has gone into those improvements and those attempted improvements. And I think probably the only thing that I could say that I feel like has been worked on any more than that particular project is when we had the add-ons manager brought through to I think it was Train Sim World 3 or 4. That's the only time that I think it's comparable. Yeah, I think that was the only time I would say this
project.
Yeah, it was comparable in terms of the amount of people power dedicated to try and resolving the issue. So I think whilst there's still things to do and there's still work to be done, I do think that from a developmental perspective, it's a success with an asterisk, I would say, because it's not there's still work to do. But I think bearing in mind how much work and time has gone into it, it's certainly something.
Oh yeah, the team did some really incredible work on the optimization that's gone on so far. They found some really there's the level of investigative work that's gone into sort of what's that doing, and part of the problem has been discovering that you're not just looking at the analysis for features that that Unreal says and saying which is the big number, because that's kind of like where optimization starts. You look at where the big number is and you start reducing the big number. It's been a case of identifying that all the problem areas don't come up in those graphs. And on all of those outputs and so forth, it turns out they identified that there's massive chunks of unaccounted for memory that we just so it's starting to dig into all of these areas and start to work out where all that memory is going, and then someone saying, oh, I've saved 200 megs of memory here and 300 megs of memory. It's like, wow, okay, this is it was really good. So, but no, I mean, I maintain on that one. Well, full credit to the team that did it, and they've done a great job. I know from a player's perspective we are not there yet, so we'll claim the success when we're there.
Nice one. Okay. Richie Rell asks, how come the logo is yellow for Train Sim World 6? Is Matt upset the pink has to go?
I tried really hard to get it to stay pink, but everyone said no, enough. So I had to sit back down again, and apparently raising your voice in the meeting's not good. I don't know. But I quite like the yellow actually. When there were a number of colours that were shown, and I think everybody unanimously was just like, oh, the yellow works. Oh, I like that. Because when we look at these when the creative teams come back with all the different options, they've got them in all of the different backgrounds and styles and in different places, so you can still see them, and really, really like the yellow.
It looks great on a blue sky. It looks great on a blue sky.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's always positive. Sitman asks, why is Train Sim World 5 coming so late to PlayStation Plus Extra? It's something that we constantly speak to the platforms about, and they will let us know as and when we can get involved in those various different opportunities. So it's not really within our power, unfortunately. So that hopefully answers that question.
Good to see that it is there, though. Actually, I was really pleased that we were able to secure and get onto that, because that's been really good. Game Pass has been really popular, and this kind of balances the books a bit.
Yeah, cool. Any updates on the PC editor? Marine Raptor asks.
There is an update. I don't know when it's coming at this point. So I need to have a conversation with the team. Particular person I need to talk to is on holiday at the moment, and see where that has landed. So I'll let you know. There is the API is actually available now for those using that, and I know that one developer has released his third Rails add-on. You'll find details on the forum, which uses the API, and there's somebody else releasing support for his hardware controllers as well. So there is there's an update coming for that API. So it just turned out that actually what was already available in the game did everything they needed. So that we told them to just go on and go ahead and use it. But in terms of editor and modding features, I need to just catch up and get an update from where we're at with getting them through the process. Some of these big patches and some of the updates for third-party things, they take a lot of time. I mean, that huge patch took a lot to get through, and it's kind of diverted attention towards those, which is more important, frankly. So we get those things out, and and I'll find out what the deal is, where we're at with the editor and the modding features, and also the update to the API.
Cool, thank you, Matt. Is that something you'd be able to update on the forums at some point, or we can follow this up tomorrow?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. We are going to do a couple more questions from you folks, and then we will hop out for the evening. Again, quick reminder that if you're asking about future content or things that are not on the roadmap or things that we've given you information on as part of the roadmap today, it's unlikely that we're going to be able to give you any more than that. Any questions about Train Sim World 6 content, August 26th is where you'll get that information. And every fibre of my being is making sure that I'm saying exactly the right thing here so that nothing slips. Titan Cameraman asks, any update on the Mildmay expansion? I don't know if we've caught up with Johannes recently, Matt. As far as I'm aware, plugging away, but it'll be something that comes with Train Sim World 6.
Coming at some point. I don't think it's with TSW6. It'll be at some point after TSW6.
Yeah.
But Johannes has actually been busy working with one of the other third-party developers, so he's been helping them with the route that they're making. So lots of exciting stuff going on. But last time we spoke with Johannes, he was very keen to get the Mildmay extension just finished off. So we'll have more details as soon as we know. But we know that he's keen to get that over the line.
Yeah. Mans asks about the Fife Cirle 158. Now, I know this is something that's been rumbling on for quite a long time now. Is there any update that we can give players at this stage?
I don't have an update on the 158. I will make a note and go and talk to the third-party team tomorrow and find out what because that's Skyhook that were doing the update to that timetable. I believe they ran into some problems, and I don't know where it's at now. And I'll find out if there's anything we can do to help.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and Crown Witness actually makes a really good point, and I think this is worth repeating actually. They said that I like that the third-party creators are cooperating with each other. That's really good, and we are seeing that increasingly actually. That a lot of our partner program developers are jumping in, supporting each other, also supporting us as well, which is good to note as well. So we one of the really good benefits of having things like the editor that we released not too long ago is that it brought a whole group of people who had always wanted to do things in game, really passionate people who were always wanting to do something and bring it to our world, have been able to do it, but because they're so passionate about the game, about the railways, they're very happy to help support others as well. And we've seen that repeatedly over the course of the last 12 months or so. So would expect that to continue and maybe even multiply over the course of the coming months.
There's a lot of interworking between the third-party developers helping each other out. It's a kind of a natural thing as people, as they start out, and then as they become familiar, we try and encourage the third parties to sort of talk together on our Discord, and they will, they'll strike up, can you do this? Can you do that? And you do end up getting either people fully joining into a group or just people just work sharing and sort of say, well, if you make these scenarios for me, I can set the physics of your train up, or different things like that. So it's really good. It worked really, really well. I started out in Dovetail as head of third party looking after Train Sim Classic, and one of the releases we had there was the Western Lands of Scotland, and I think that release ended up with something like 6 or 7 third-party developers all helping in different ways, and they're all reciprocal relationships. None of it was a money-based thing. It was all making something and somebody else makes something in return, and you ended up actually with a whole bunch of really interesting stuff and a really good route out of it. So it's definitely one of the key jobs or key things that our third-party team do, as well as helping developers get used to and get their products through to release, is joining the dots, putting people in touch with each other, and helping with the networking side of it for people. So that's working really well, and yeah, it is. I was really happy when I heard that Johannes was helping this developer out.
Yeah, exactly. Just on that note, Amazetays asked, would DTG think about running workshops for budding amateur devs?
Possibly. It's something we can think about. There's a lot of time required to organise something like that, but yeah, I mean, I for a very long time wanted to run like something like a DevCon type event where you have workshops and sessions going through various things, but they take a lot of time to organise. So at this point in time, no, but definitely share a desire to do that.
Okay. And final question for tonight. Actually, no. No, I'll do 2 more. Casual Rail asks, can DTG reach out to new third-party teams, or do they pitch to us? It's I guess a combination of both, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep, sometimes the third party team will see something, or one of the could be other people in the company that monitor the forums will sort of see something and say to the third party team, "Hey, this looks cool." And sometimes a lot of the time, probably the majority of the time, the devs will get in touch with us and say, "Hey, look, this is the stuff that I'm doing. Can we talk?" I won't say what number of developers that third-party team are looking after now, but it's a lot.
It is a lot.
But it's very exciting.
They are the unsung heroes of the team, the partner program team.
Yeah,
Just
there's 4 of them in the team, as I mentioned on the Manchester stream. There's Steve, who heads it up, supported by Ryan, David, and Laura, and they really do work very, very hard, talking to loads of different developers, keeping everybody informed, sharing information between each other, and helping to make sure all their products go through the process to get through to a release. So it's yeah, they are working very, very hard to get us a really good variety of content. So and you should see, you see that every time a third party release happens, nothing happens accidentally. It all takes a lot of work.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of questions about the cross-country 170 layering onto Midland Main Line. I don't imagine that will be the case for launch, but it's something that maybe because it's a Skyhook route and Rivet have made the cross-country 170. We talk about collaborations. Maybe there's something in the future that can happen with that, but I would very much doubt it will be there on release.
It's nothing I've been told about, so definitely nothing. Nothing is happening, and assume nothing will happen.
Yeah.
I will raise it with both Rivet and Skyhook and see whether there's interest in doing something along those lines. But assume it's not, because again, there's nothing anyone's told me about.
Yeah. Chronicle Toxic asks, and this, but in fact, no, I'll leave that as the last question. There was a question about save game, Matt. Are we still actively working on improving the save game, or are we in a position where we're happy with where things are at the moment?
Save game still needs work. We're not working on it actively at the moment because the crashing and the blurriness is more important.
Okay. And final question, which leads us nicely on to what I was going to talk about at the end anyway. Chronicle Toxic asked, Matt, JD, will you be at the Greatest Gathering, which is at Alstom in first weekend of August, I think?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought you were going to jump in the Matt and say, yes, I'm going.
Oh yeah, I'm going.
Matt is going. So if you are going along, feel free to say hi. We also have a few other members of the team that are going to be there as well. So yeah, there's lots of exciting stuff planned at the event, and yeah, we will be there. I won't be because I'm on leave, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll have a few members of the Dovetail team there for you to say hello to. And
yeah,
probably
there's us going to be there. I think near us or next to us, Daisy will have a class 700 cab simulator that you can have a go on. But there are other train sim related things going on as well. There's a couple of live. I think there's a group that have restored a 442 cab sim. They'll be there using Train Sim Classic, if I remember rightly. And there's I can't remember everything that's going on, but there's if you're a train sim fan, let alone just if you're a railway fan, you've got to be there. But if you're a train sim fan, there's plenty there to see as well. There's more than just Dovetail. Just of course it's amazing. But there's tons going on, and TS Controllers who make the hardware, they're going to be there as well. So if you're interested in seeing any of his stuff, you can go and have a look at it yourself. So it's it should be absolutely epic, even just from a sim front. But obviously, looking at some of the announcements that they've been putting out in terms of the trains that are going to be arriving at the and on show for the weekend, I am absolutely can't wait for it, and it's my birthday weekend, so even better.
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant. So if you are coming along, then please feel free to bring Matt a birthday present on Rivet as well. Do you know what I'm really looking forward to is there'll be all of this amazing, all of these exhibits, all of these incredible trains from history. I think the biggest queue of the weekend is going to be to try and have a chat with Matt. So for anybody that's going along, have a wonderful time. Yeah, make sure you stop by the stand. We'll be telling people strictly not to reveal anything about Trains in World 6 because it is obviously in that window before Dovetail Direct.
That's the
So
reason. That's the real reason you're not allowed to
that's
go.
that's the real reason I'm not allowed to go. Very much looking forward to seeing how people, because I think we'll have Jamie. Jamie will be there, so I think we'll have Jamie on our social channels, doing like a little vlogging style thing at the event as well. So if you're not able to come, if you follow us on socials, particularly on the likes of Instagram, hopefully you'll be able to get a sense of what the event's all about. Brilliant. Okay, I think that probably about wraps us up for this evening, Matt. Just to quickly reiterate what we said at the start of the live stream, Train Sim World 6 is coming. And we have announced it today. There's a lovely video of Matt and Alex if you want to check it out on our YouTube channel. So it's a new core game. The free starter pack will be returning, available for anybody to use. So if you're upgrading from a previous version of Train Sim World, or you are a new player, you are more than welcome to give it a go. It'll contain limited core features, but there'll also be some great value paid for bundles as well of content that will be announced on the 26th of August, which is a Tuesday. So make sure you put that in your diaries. It'll be available on all of the platforms that Train Sim World 5 is available on, and similarly, in the same way that compatible content worked for Train Sim World 5, we imagine it will be a very similar process for Train Sim World 6 too. I think that's pretty much all of the admin that I can go through for a roadmap session. I bet you've missed this, everyone. When Alex does it, I bet there isn't anywhere near as much admin. But Matt, I guess final words from you. What should players be looking forward to with regards to Train Sim World 6, without spoiling anything?
I'm not sure how to answer that.
I'll put you.
Great,
I'll really put
great,
you in there then.
great things. Great. I'm allowed to say great things. Is that leaking too much? I don't know. Great things. It's exciting stuff actually. So both in terms of the content and features and so forth. So it's very exciting. I am busting to tell you all. So roll on, Dovetail Direct.
Yeah, it's only 7 weeks away. So we'll only have to be on our best behaviour for the next 7 weeks. Brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching at home. Thank you very much for your questions. We will be back on Thursday to do a preview of the Class 86 with our friends at Just Train. So make sure you stay tuned for that on Thursday. That will be a great live stream. And don't forget, we'll also have the cross-country Class 170 and the West Midlands Railway 170 coming from Rivet in the next few weeks, as well as also the Expert DBBR 101 Kassel-Wurzburg gameplay pack from TSG2. So I think that leaves us with nothing else to say then. Have a wonderful evening, folks, and we will see you again on the other side. See you later.